The awakening. The scorching sun beat down on the barren landscape of the Atacama Desert, its relentless heat shimmering off the sand-covered rocky terrain. Dr. Samantha Chen wiped the sweat from her brow, her eyes fixed on the bizarre readings flickering across her tablet's screen. For weeks, her team had been excavating this site, following a trail of electromagnetic anomalies that defied explanation. But nothing could have prepared them for what they were about to uncover. Professor Martinez. Samantha called out, her voice carrying an urgency that made her colleagues snap to attention. "I think we found something." The seasoned archaeologist hurried over, his weathered face creased with curiosity. As he peered over Samantha's shoulder, his eyes widened. "Dios mío," he whispered. "This can't be possible." The readings indicated a massive object buried deep beneath the desert floor, its composition unlike anything they had ever encountered. But it was the faint, rhythmic pulses of energy emanating from the object that sent chills down their spines. Whatever lay beneath their feet wasn't just alien, it was alive. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the dig site, Samantha and Martinez made a decision that would change the course of human history. They would excavate through the night, driven by an insatiable curiosity and the weight of their discovery. Hours passed in a blur of frenzied activity. As their team worked tirelessly, the first hints of the object began to emerge from the earth. Smooth, obsidian-like surfaces reflected the harsh work lights, revealing intricate patterns that seemed to shift and dance before their eyes. Just as dawn broke, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, a tremor shook the ground. The object, now revealed to be a massive, egg-shaped structure nearly 30 meters tall, began to emit a low, pulsating hum. Before anyone could react, a blinding light erupted from its surface, engulfing the entire excavation site. When the light faded, Samantha found herself on her knees, ears ringing and vision blurred. As she struggled to her feet, she realized with horror that the artifact had changed. What was once solid and unyielding now rippled like liquid metal, its surface swirling with colors and patterns that defied description. But the transformation of the artifact was nothing compared to what happened next. All across the globe, in that same instant, every electronic device connected to a network began to display the same message. A complex series of mathematical equations and diagrams that scrolled endlessly across screens. Panic gripped the world as governments scrambled to understand the implications of this unprecedented event. News channels buzzed with wild speculation and conspiracy theories, while religious leaders proclaimed the end times. In the chaos that ensued, one thing became clear: humanity was no longer alone in the universe, and whatever had made contact was far beyond their comprehension. In the days that followed, an international team of experts was hastily assembled. Linguists, mathematicians, physicists, and diplomats from every corner of the globe converged on a secret facility, tasked with deciphering the alien message and formulating a response. Dr. Samantha Chen found herself at the heart of this effort, working alongside brilliant minds like Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a quantum physicist from Japan, and Dr. Adebayo Okafor, a renowned linguist from Nigeria. Together, they pored over the endless stream of data, searching for patterns and meaning in the cosmic communique. As weeks turned into months, progress was painstakingly slow. The alien language, if it could be called that, operated on principles that seemed to defy the very laws of physics. It was Dr. Tanaka who first proposed the radical idea that would ultimately break the deadlock. What if, she posited during a late-night brainstorming session, her eyes alight with excitement, the message isn't just a language, but a key to unlocking new dimensions of reality. Her theory was met with skepticism at first, but as they delved deeper into the mathematical underpinnings of the alien equations, evidence began to mount. The message wasn't just a greeting or a warning. It was a blueprint for rewiring the human mind to perceive and interact with the universe in entirely new ways. The implications were staggering. If they could decipher and implement the alien knowledge, it could revolutionize every field of human endeavor, from medicine to space travel. but it also raised troubling questions about the nature of consciousness and the potential risks of altering the fundamental way humans perceived reality. As the team grappled with these philosophical quandaries, events at the excavation site took a dramatic turn. The artifact, which had remained dormant since its initial activation, suddenly sprang to life once more. This time, however, its energy signature was different, focused and directional, as if reaching out to something in the depths of space. Samantha, who had been called back to the site to oversee further studies, watched in awe as the night sky above the artifact began to shimmer and distort. Stars seemed to bend and warp, their light twisting into impossible shapes. And then, in a moment that would be forever etched in her memory, a figure stepped out of the void. The being that materialized before them was unlike anything they could have imagined. It stood nearly 3 meters tall, its body a shifting mass of iridescent tendrils that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once. Where a face might have been, there was only a swirling vortex of light and color. As Samantha and her colleagues stood frozen in shock, the alien entity began to communicate, not through sound or conventional language, but directly into their minds. Images, emotions, and concepts flooded their consciousness, overwhelming their senses with visions of distant worlds and the vastness of the cosmos. Through this telepathic exchange, they learned that the artifact was a seed, planted on Earth eons ago by a race of beings so advanced that they had transcended physical form. These cosmic gardeners, as Samantha came to think of them, had seeded countless worlds with the potential for intelligent life, watching and waiting for the moment when a species would be ready to join them among the stars. But with this revelation came a chilling warning. Humanity stood on the precipice of a great awakening, but they were not alone in the galaxy. Other, less benevolent forces had taken notice of Earth's potential, and they would stop at nothing to harness or destroy it. The alien consciousness imparted a final, urgent message before fading back into the cosmos. Earth had been chosen as the focal point for a cosmic convergence, a gathering of advanced civilizations that would determine the fate of not just humanity, but countless other young races throughout the galaxy. As the alien presence receded, leaving behind a stunned group of scientists and a world forever changed, Samantha Chen realized that their work had only just begun. The race was on to prepare humanity for its role in this cosmic drama, to unlock the secrets hidden within the alien message, and to ready Earth's defenses against whatever threats might be hurtling towards them from the depths of space. With trembling hands, Samantha reached for her communicator, knowing that the words she was about to speak would set in motion a chain of events that would alter the course of human history. "This is Dr. Chen," she said, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "Initiate Protocol Omega. We have made first contact." As the sun rose on a new era for humanity, Samantha gazed up at the sky, now alive with possibilities and dangers beyond imagination. The awakening had begun, and the true test of human ingenuity, courage, and unity lay ahead. Whatever the cosmos had in store for them, one thing was certain: nothing would ever be the same again. The world held its breath as the international team of scientists, led by Dr. Samantha Chen, raced against time to decipher the alien message and prepare humanity for the cosmic convergence. Governments around the globe, setting aside their differences in the face of this unprecedented challenge, poured resources into a unified effort dubbed Project Starbridge. At the heart of their work was the artifact, now housed in a state-of-the-art facility built around it in the Atacama Desert. Day and night, researchers probed its secrets, each breakthrough bringing them closer to understanding the vast cosmic tapestry in which Earth was but a single thread. Dr. Yuki Tanaka's theory about the message being a key to unlocking new dimensions of reality proved to be the cornerstone of their efforts. Through a combination of advanced quantum computing and the newfound ability to perceive higher dimensions, the team began to unravel the complexities of the alien language. As they delved deeper into the cosmic knowledge, the true scope of the challenge facing humanity became clear. The coming convergence was not just a meeting of civilizations, it was a test, a crucible in which the potential of young races would be evaluated. Those deemed worthy would be elevated to join the cosmic community, while those found lacking would be left behind, their potential forever unrealized. But there was a catch. To prove their worthiness, humanity would need to send representatives on a perilous journey across the galaxy, following a path laid out in the alien message. This odyssey would take them to the very edge of known space, where they would face trials designed to test not just their technological prowess, but their wisdom, compassion, and capacity for growth. The revelation sent shockwaves through the global community. Debates raged about who should represent Earth on this crucial mission, and how to prepare for the unknown challenges that lay ahead. In the end, a team of 12 was chosen, a diverse group of scientists, diplomats, and explorers from every corner of the globe, each bringing unique skills and perspectives to the mission. Dr. Samantha Chen, whose intuitive grasp of the alien concepts had proven invaluable, was selected to lead the expedition. Alongside her were Dr. Yuki Tanaka, whose brilliant mind had unlocked so many of the artifact's secrets, and Dr. Adebayo Okafor, whose linguistic expertise would be crucial in navigating potential first contact situations. The team also included Captain Maria Rodriguez, a seasoned astronaut with nerves of steel, Dr. Zhang Wei, a prodigy in the field of xenobiology, and Amir Khoury, a diplomat renowned for his ability to bridge cultural divides. Each member of the crew had been chosen not just for their individual talents, but for their ability to work together as a cohesive unit in the face of the unknown. As the day of launch approached, the eyes of the world turned to the massive starship that had been constructed in record time, incorporating the advanced technologies gleaned from the alien message. Christened the Odysseus, it represented the pinnacle of human achievement and the hopes of an entire species. On the eve of their departure, Samantha stood before a global audience, her words broadcast to billions around the world. "We stand at the threshold of a new era," she declared, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "Our journey into the cosmos is not just an exploration of space, but an exploration of what it means to be human. Whatever challenges we face, whatever wonders we discover, we go forward not just as representatives of Earth, but as emissaries of the human spirit." As dawn broke on launch day, the Odysseus rose from its cradle in a pillar of light, defying gravity and igniting the imaginations of all who watched. As the ship broke free of Earth's atmosphere, the crew felt a mix of exhilaration and trepidation. They were leaving behind everything they had ever known, venturing into a cosmos filled with both promise and peril. The first leg of their journey took them to the outer edges of the solar system, where they were to activate a dormant alien gateway hidden within the Kuiper Belt. As they approached the coordinates provided in the message, tension mounted on the bridge of the Odysseus. "Are you seeing this?" Captain Rodriguez asked, her eyes wide as she stared at the view screen. Before them, a massive structure shimmered into existence, a ring of swirling energy nearly a kilometer in diameter. Dr. Tanaka's fingers flew over her console, analyzing the readings. "It's incredible," she breathed. "The gateway is generating a stable wormhole. According to these calculations, it should allow us to traverse thousands of light years in an instant." With a deep breath, Samantha gave the order. "Take us in, Captain, steady as she goes." As the Odysseus entered the swirling vortex, the crew felt a moment of disorientation, their senses struggling to process the impossible geometries of higher dimensional space. And then, in a flash, they emerged into a star system unlike anything they had ever seen. 3 suns danced in a complex orbital pattern, their light reflecting off the crystalline surfaces of dozens of planets and moons. But it was the massive space station floating at the system's center that captured their attention, a sprawling structure that dwarfed anything humanity had ever built. As they approached, a transmission crackled to life, filling the bridge with a symphony of alien voices. Dr. Okafor listened intently, his brow furrowed in concentration. "It's a greeting," he announced after a moment. "They're welcoming us too. I believe the closest translation would be the crucible of stars." Over the days that followed, the crew of the Odysseus found themselves immersed in a cosmic melting pot of species and cultures. The space station, they learned, was a waypoint for young races embarking on their own journeys of discovery and trials. Here, they would receive guidance and prepare for the challenges that lay ahead. But amidst the wonder of first contact and the exchange of knowledge, a sense of urgency persisted. Earth's trials would not wait, and the clock was ticking on their mission to prove humanity's worth. Their alien hosts, a race of ethereal beings called the Luminari, explained the nature of the trials they would face. Each challenge, they said, their thoughts translated into words by the advanced systems of the Odysseus, is designed to test not just your technological capabilities, but your wisdom, your compassion, and your potential for growth. You will be presented with moral dilemmas, tests of courage, and puzzles that will push the very limits of your understanding of the universe. As the crew prepared for their first trial, Samantha couldn't shake a growing sense of unease. The stakes were impossibly high, the fate of humanity resting on their shoulders. And yet, as she looked around at her team, she saw not fear, but determination. They had come too far to falter now. The first challenge took them to a dying star system, where an ancient civilization teetered on the brink of extinction. The Odysseus emerged from the gateway to find a red giant star in its death throes, its outer layers expanding to engulf the inner planets. "My God," Dr. Zanwai whispered, her eyes fixed on the spectacle before them. "The radiation levels are off the charts. How could anything survive this?" As if in answer to her question, their sensors detected a weak transmission emanating from the system's outermost planet, a last desperate plea for help from a species facing annihilation. The crew gathered on the bridge, the weight of their first trial settling heavily upon them. "We have the technology to save them," Captain Rodriguez stated, her voice tight with tension. "But our reserves are limited. If we expend them here, we risk compromising the rest of our mission and Earth's future." Samantha felt the eyes of her crew upon her, waiting for her decision. In that moment, she understood the true nature of their test. It wasn't just about their ability to save a dying race. It was about the choices they would make when faced with an impossible situation. "We can't turn our backs on them," Samantha declared, her voice firm. "Humanity's worth isn't measured by our ability to survive, but by our willingness to help others, even at great cost to ourselves. We'll find a way to complete our mission, but not at the expense of an entire civilization." With their course set, the crew of the Odysseus sprang into action. Dr. Tanaka and Dr. Wei worked tirelessly to adapt their shields to withstand the intense radiation, while Amir Curie established communication with the planet's survivors, coordinating the evacuation efforts. For days, they'd pushed themselves to the limit, shuttling refugees to the safety of the Odysseus and improvising solutions to problems they had never anticipated. As the star entered its final phase, the ship's engines strained against the immense gravitational forces, laden with the weight of thousands of survivors. In a burst of blinding light, they cleared the system just as the star collapsed, the shockwave buffeting the Odysseus and sending tremors through its hull. As the light faded and the alarms quieted, an exhausted cheer went up from the crew. They had done it. They had saved an entire species from extinction. But their elation was short-lived. As they took stock of their situation, the harsh reality of their choice became clear. Their power reserves were critically low, and much of their advanced technology had been damaged in the rescue effort. "We knew the cost," Samantha reminded her team, seeing the worry in their eyes. "But we also gained something invaluable, proof that when faced with a moral challenge, humanity chooses compassion over self-preservation. That has to count for something in the grand scheme of things." As if in response to her words, a soft chime sounded from Dr. Okafor's console. "We're receiving a transmission," he announced, his eyes widening as he deciphered the message. "It's from the Luminari. They say we've passed the first trial." A wave of relief washed over the bridge, tempered by the knowledge that this was only the beginning. As they set course for their next challenge, Samantha couldn't help but wonder what other tests awaited them, and whether they would be able to maintain their humanity in the face of increasingly difficult choices. Their journey took them to the farthest reaches of the galaxy, each trial more demanding than the last. They navigated treacherous nebulae that defied the laws of physics, mediated conflicts between warring alien factions, and unlocked the secrets of long-dead civilizations. With each challenge, the crew of the Odysseus grew not just in knowledge and capability, but in their understanding of what it truly meant to be human. They learned to see beyond their differences, to draw strength from their diversity, and to find hope even in the darkest of circumstances. But as they neared the final trial, a sense of foreboding settled over the ship. The luminary had warned them that the last test would be the most difficult, a challenge that would push them to the very limits of their abilities and force them to confront the deepest truths about themselves and their place in the universe. As they approached the coordinates for their final destination, the ship's sensors began to malfunction, the view screens filling with static. "What's happening?" Samantha demanded, her heart racing as alarms blared throughout the ship. "I don't know," Captain Rodriguez replied, her hands flying over the controls. "It's like we've hit some kind of boundary. Nothing's responding." Suddenly, the chaos ceased. The alarms fell silent, and the view screens cleared to reveal a sight that took their breath away. Before them stretched an expanse of utter blackness, darker than the void of space itself, and at its center, a pinprick of light pulsed with otherworldly energy. "It can't be," Dr. Tanaka whispered, her voice filled with awe and terror. "According to these readings, that's the edge of the universe, the boundary between existence and nothingness." As the implications of her words sank in, a new transmission crackled to life. The voice that filled the bridge was unlike anything they had encountered before, a chorus of countless beings speaking as one. "Children of Earth," the voice intoned, its power shaking them to their very cores. "You stand at the threshold of creation itself. Your final trial awaits. To prove your worth, you must journey into the void and retrieve a spark of the primordial energy that birthed the cosmos. But be warned, to touch such power is to risk unmaking yourselves and all you hold dear. Choose wisely, for the fate of not just your world, but all worlds, hangs in the balance." As the transmission faded, leaving behind a deafening silence, Samantha looked at her crew, these extraordinary individuals who had become more than colleagues, more than friends. They had become family. In their eyes she saw fear, yes, but also determination and trust. "Whatever happens," she said, her voice steady despite the trembling in her hands, "we face it together. For Earth, for all we've encountered on our journey, and for each other. Are you with me?" One by one, they nodded, their resolve hardening in the face of this ultimate challenge. As Samantha gave the order to proceed, the Odysseus inched forward, crossing the threshold into the unknown. What awaited them in that primordial void, none could say. But as they ventured into the heart of creation itself, the crew of the Odysseus carried with them the hopes and dreams of not just humanity, but of all the beings they had encountered on their cosmic odyssey. The final test had begun, and the fate of the universe hung in the balance. The reckoning. As the Odysseus crossed the threshold into the void, reality itself seemed to unravel around them. The laws of physics that had governed their journey thus far broke down, leaving the crew adrift in a sea of pure potential. Colors that had no name in any human language swirled around them, and sounds that defied description echoed through their minds. Dr. Samantha Chen gripped the arms of her chair, fighting against the vertigo that threatened to overwhelm her. "Status report," she called out, her voice sounding strange and distorted in the impossible space. "All systems are fluctuating," Captain Rodriguez responded, her usual cool professionalism tinged with awe. "It's as if the ship is rewriting itself moment to moment. I've never seen anything like it." Dr. Yuki Tanaka's eyes were wide as she stared at her console, which displayed readings that seemed to shift and change even as she watched. "The energy signatures here are off the charts," she reported. "It's like we're witnessing the birth and death of universes every second." Hex, the reckoning. As the Odysseus crossed the threshold into the void, reality itself seemed to unravel around them. The laws of physics that had governed their journey thus far broke down, leaving the crew adrift in a sea of pure potential. Colors that had no name in any human language swirled around them, and sounds that defied description echoed through their minds. Dr. Samantha Chen gripped the arms of her chair, fighting against the vertigo that threatened to overwhelm her. "Status report," she called out, her voice sounding strange and distorted in the impossible space. "All systems are fluctuating," Captain Rodriguez responded, her usual cool professionalism tinged with awe. "It's as if the ship is rewriting itself moment to moment. I've never seen anything like it." Dr. Yuki Tanaka's eyes were wide as she stared at her console, which displayed readings that seemed to shift and change even as she watched. "The energy signatures here are off the charts," she reported. "It's like we're witnessing the birth and death of universes every second." As they ventured deeper into the void, the crew began to experience visions. Flashes of possible futures, glimpses of paths not taken, echoes of lives they might have lived. The boundary between individual consciousness and the cosmic whole began to blur. Amir Khoury, who had remained a steady presence throughout their journey, suddenly gasped, his eyes glazing over. "I can see them," he whispered. "All the civilizations we've encountered, all the lives we've touched. They're all connected. We're all part of something greater." Dr. Adebayo Okafor nodded, his expression one of profound understanding. "It's like the universe is speaking to us directly," he said. "Not in words, but in pure concepts. I think I'm beginning to understand the true nature of the trial." Samantha felt it too, a vast, incomprehensible intelligence reaching out to them, inviting them to become part of something beyond their wildest imagination. But with that invitation came a warning, a sense of the terrible responsibility that awaited them. As they neared the heart of the void, where the pinprick of primordial energy pulsed with the power of creation itself, a choice presented itself. They could reach out and grasp that energy, gaining the power to reshape reality itself. With such power, they could ensure the safety and prosperity of Earth and all the civilizations they had encountered. They could end suffering, erase conflict, and usher in an era of unparalleled peace and harmony. But to do so would be to fundamentally alter the nature of existence. Free will, the struggle to overcome adversity, the very essence of what it meant to be alive, all of it would be erased in favor of a perfect, but static, reality. The alternative was to resist the temptation, to turn away from godhood and return to their own universe, trusting in the collective potential of all sentient beings to forge their own destiny. It would mean accepting a future filled with uncertainty, with both triumphs and tragedies, but also with the infinite possibility for growth and change. As the crew grappled with this monumental decision, they found themselves not just communing with each other, but with the collective consciousness of every being that had ever lived or ever would live. The weight of all existence pressed upon them, demanding an answer. In that moment of ultimate truth, Samantha understood the true purpose of their odyssey. It had never been about proving humanity's worth to some cosmic judges. It had been about this moment, this choice, a choice that would determine the fate of all reality. She looked at her crew, these remarkable individuals who had become her family, and saw in their eyes the same realization. Without words, they reached a consensus. Samantha took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. "We choose freedom," she declared, her voice ringing out with the strength of conviction. "We choose the messy, unpredictable, beautiful chaos of life. We choose to believe in the potential of all beings to grow, to learn, to become more than they are." As soon as the words left her lips, the void around them erupted in an explosion of light and sound. The Odysseus shuddered, reality reasserting itself with violent force. Alarms blared as the ship's systems overloaded, unable to process the raw energy surging through them. "We're breaking apart," Captain Rodriguez shouted over the cacophony. "The structural integrity is failing." As the ship began to disintegrate around them, Samantha felt a profound sense of peace. They had made the right choice, she knew, even if it meant their own destruction. They had safeguarded the future of not just humanity, but of all life in the universe. But just as all seemed lost, a new force intervened. The collective consciousness of the cosmos, moved by their sacrifice, reached out to preserve them. In a blinding flash of light, the Odysseus and its crew were transformed, their physical forms transcending to a higher state of existence. When awareness returned, they found themselves back in familiar space, orbiting the blue marble of Earth. But they were no longer merely human. They had become something more, guardians of reality, entrusted with the task of nurturing the potential of all life in the universe. As they gazed upon their home planet, forever changed by their cosmic odyssey, they understood the true nature of their victory. They had not just saved humanity or passed some cosmic test. They had affirmed the fundamental value of free will and the infinite potential for growth that existed in every sentient being. The crew of the Odysseus now ascended to a higher plane of existence, spread out across the cosmos. They became myth and legend, guiding hands that would subtly influence the course of civilizations, always nudging them towards greater understanding and compassion, but never interfering directly. On Earth, the return of the Odysseus marked the dawn of a new era. The knowledge and technologies they brought back revolutionized every field of human endeavor. But more importantly, they'd brought a new perspective, a cosmic awareness that forever changed humanity's place in the universe. As decades turned to centuries and centuries to millennia, Earth blossomed into a beacon of hope and progress. Humanity spread to the stars, not as conquerors, but as explorers and peacekeepers. They became stewards of young civilizations, paying forward the guidance and wisdom they have received on their own journey. And always, watching over them, were the ascended crew of the Odysseus. They had become part of the cosmic tapestry, eternal guardians ensuring that the gift of choice and the potential for growth would always remain sacred. In the end, the true reckoning had not been about judgment or worthiness. It had been about understanding the profound responsibility that came with awareness of the cosmic order. Humanity, through its representatives, had chosen to embrace that responsibility, to become partners in the grand dance of creation rather than its masters. As new civilizations arose and began their own journeys of discovery, the legacy of the Odysseus lived on. The story of their great journey, their ultimate choice, and their transcendent sacrifice became a guiding light for countless beings across the universe. And so, the cosmic convergence continued, an eternal cycle of growth, challenge, and transformation. The universe, in all its infinite wonder and possibility, unfolded as it should, not perfect, not without struggle, but alive with the potential for endless discovery and the indomitable spirit of those who dared to reach for the stars. In the heart of a distant nebula, where the birthing of new stars painted the cosmos in hues of purple and gold, the essence that had once been Dr. Samantha Chen paused in her eternal vigil. She sensed a new awakening, a young race taking its first tentative steps into the cosmic community. With a thought, she reached out across the vast distances of space and time, sending a pulse of encouragement and welcome. Another grand odyssey was beginning, another chance for life to prove its worth and potential. And as it had been since that fateful day when humanity made its choice, Samantha and her crew would be there to watch, to guide, and to marvel at the endless capacity for growth and wonder that existed in every corner of the universe. The cosmic convergence continued, eternal and ever-changing, a testament to the power of choice, the strength of unity, and the limitless potential of life itself.